All right, yo. Good evening, good evening. It's been a while, but we're here with the boy. What's good with you, Nico?
What's going on, Charter? How you doing? I've missed you, man.
Oh man, I'm about to say you was down for a little minute. You got sick, bro. You had the COVID, man. You was down.
Yeah, I had me some COVID, and then a couple weeks ago I had a stomach virus. The virus has been going around, and in the meantime, couple injuries playing soccer. It's been crazy. It's been
Oh,
wild.
yeah. That's
Right
right. That's
now, I
right.
sprained my ankle. Yeah, I sprained my ankle last Friday. I can't play soccer in a month.
Oh
So
man, you gotta take it easy, man. You gotta eat your vitamins, man. Come on. You
I'm
gotta eat.
taking advantage of this young body, man. Ain't gonna have it forever.
Oh Lord, I hear you, man. All right, so Nico, man, welcome back. Good to see you. You're coming back into the peak of your health. You good to go?
Yes, I am.
All right. So today's topic, I'm pulling this one out the hat. I want to talk about value. Um, Not the value meal, no aspects in regards to maybe not so much monetary, but I want to talk about the concepts of human value, the value that we have. And I guess the contrast between our intrinsic value versus our actual accumulated or maybe applicable value that we can apply, or we can I guess we can accumulate over time. So with no further ado, let me go ahead and just throw this out at you. So in just a baseline scenario, you know that we as human beings, we all have some type of intrinsic value. Our lives are valuable as a living, breathing human creature. But we realize in concept that some individuals, personally to us, whether directly or indirectly, might not have the same level of value. We have a parietal system or a hierarchy system where some individuals are worth more to us than others. A lot of times based on what they might have some type of sentimental value to us, or they might actually have more applicable value based on what they provide us, whether they provide us access, some type of monetary position, or whatever other type of gratification. So I want to talk to you in regards to the contrast of intrinsic value versus maybe possibly accumulated value, and get your take on that perception.
Well, I think that's a great topic. That's a really good one. I like it. I think intrinsic value and what do you call it? Accumulated,
Yeah, we can say accumulated value that we can gain
accumulated
over
value.
time based on what we do for each other.
Right. I think not an actual absolute definition or difference between the two, but I believe intrinsic value is something that's more objective, and I see accumulated value as something more subjective. So, for example, as human beings, like you were bringing up, I think something of intrinsic value is food and shelter, oxygen, and getting enough sleep. That to me that has intrinsic value because
Mm.
we just have to value it. You can question, you can debate that we don't need that because we do just for our mere existence. And then accumulated value is something like it's like the word says, something more so by experience. It's more subjective. You can debate it a little more. Maybe you
Okay.
like your black shirt. Maybe I like my blue shirt better. That's how I feel like blue shirts are more valuable because they I don't know have more outfits that they can go with. Maybe you have your opinions about black. So your black shirt, red shirt.
I'm only
It's
laughing
just
just thinking
it's
about
something.
we're talking about people, and I'm just like, okay, where he went with black and blue, but okay, hey, keep going, man.
No, like like your taste. So if I think my iPhone is better than your Android phone. So that's the iPhones to me have a accumulated value or whatever word you used, and you think the same thing about your own taste. So that's kind
Okay,
of how I see it.
all right. So let me jump in with that one. So I there's a market. There's a market. So we're in a market forum, and we talk to value, and there, like you said, value can to a degree be subjective. You might like your iPhone more than my Android, right? but we understand that in a marketplace, the value of those items is based on the perception and maybe the materials and the demand for said items. So your brand new iPhone is valued retail at, say, its price point. Let's just throw a number out there, $1,500, right? $1,500. My older Note 10 might at this point be worth $900. We understand that the sale value or the retail values of these items are what they are based on the market, based on the demand, based on what they were created, what they were, what they were made out of initially when they were sold in that aspect. But speaking about people, so my thing about intrinsic value, I go back to saying a lot of times intrinsic value starts with individuals based on our knowledge of that individual, like you said, experience. So when I first met you and you first met me, we know we're just intrinsically just human beings. You have your value. You were your age, I think we were like 19 at the time, college, you just came from community college, working, you had your value, you had what you were making in your earnings, but I guess from an income standpoint, but as a human being, you were enterprising, you had your value. And I didn't know you from Adam. So pretty much at that point, intrinsically, you were only valued to me as much as a decent human being, and you were entitled to life, liberty, and the ability to pursue happiness and all that other good jazz, right?
But automatically that puts me on top of other people who are the same, and you've crossed them, but you don't even know their name.
True, but no, I wouldn't say above. You are in the same realm of everyone else. Initially, for me, when I cross your path, now I can't value anybody I've never met, or I can't really value something I'm not aware of. But when I initially met you, you got intrinsic value. But over time, getting to know you, your value point has adjusted based on the value you have invested, the time, and the things that we've been gone our way each way for each other. You have gained not only just overall value as an individual through our experiences, but sentimental value and things of that nature. Whereas if you had been a blight to my existence and you've been a problem for me, then your value would have diminished much lower than anybody than the stranger I would have known, just by way of your encounter. So I was just thinking, like, the reason why this intrinsic value came up, because I know a lot of people don't do self-reflection and they don't do self-appraisals. And you've seen it in social media, you see it out in regards to a lot of, because I was gonna ask you the other day, because you did psychology as well. You have your degree in psychology as well, right?
That is correct. And a minor degree in psychology, may I add.
Okay, so we come from a similar background, though we never had these discussions. I guess that's why we are now. But when
we have just camera, but we have.
I just don't remember.
Sometime, yeah. I don't either, but I know, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of in betweens, but what I say in regards to like that self appraisal, a lot of people, for I guess the ideas of motivating themselves or their self-esteem factor, a lot of people inflate or overvalue themselves as far as how they should be valued by others, instead of valuing themselves high enough to be worth that demand. And I know you heard the adage of trying to sell a used car for a new car price. And that's why I came about this topic, because in a lot of instances, we give people the benefit of the doubt, but a lot of people want more than the benefit of the doubt. They want specific and specialized treatment. They would like specialized access, and they would, and there's also a issue with people respecting other individuals' boundaries. So I wanted to get your take in regards to where is it best to draw the line and be clear with individuals once they start going from the intrinsic value position, and then they start coming into where they start to accumulate higher value. Or what is the red flags for you when individuals start going past their healthy boundaries and start diminishing their overall value in regards past the level of basic intrinsic value?
So you mean I didn't understand that question. You mean where to draw the line with how people see my accumulated value?
Now, for
What
you, right? So where would you draw the line when you from intrinsic value? What would you start saying this person is starting to gain actual positive, beneficial value to me? Or on the opposite spectrum, where would you say are the red flags? What would be the red flags for you where someone's value starts to diminish below the intrinsic value line, just based on the behaviors, characteristics, and things of that nature? So
Oh,
there we
okay,
go.
okay. I
There
get
we
it.
go.
Well, I think that's a good way to explain it there. Well, I think that's more, in my opinion, if I understand it correctly. I feel like that's more emotion based. So if you like when we met, you helped me a lot selflessly, you know. If I would have asked you for a favor and then you're like no, and you don't even look at me, and then you stay on your phone, then now you go below that initial value. Does that make sense? Negatively. So it's more like I feel like it's more emotion based for everybody. If if we're friends and we hang out and we talk a lot, and I'm like, hey, like this came up and you think about me and you tell me, I'm like, hey, I appreciate that. Or you say some negative comments more than once, then now I feel an emotion. It's just that it's a negative emotion. So now you kind of shift away from that. I want to say, I guess, zero line, and then you
Okay.
start going one way or the other. But either way, you're not on that intrinsic value, just restricted kind of persona in my head. Does that make sense? What do you think?
Yes. So you come away from the baseline. So with
Baseline, you're right.
that, so it and you said it's an emotional aspect, which there is that a major component of value adjustment or value uh doing a value assessment. But I would also say to that it basically comes from, like you said when I first met you, we did, helped you out, did things for you and whatnot, help you get on your feet. I think it's a lot of times the efforts and the investments that we make. So when we initially met, I could have been like, man, tough break, bro. Hey, man, it happens to the best of us, and kept moving. But whatever reason, your situation and just everything that was going on, it just, I guess, and this is a human factor of helping one another out. um i I saw you had intrinsic value as just a normal person, but you needed help. And I felt like the efforts that I invested in you, even as a stranger, would have been valuable to you, because they would be, say, valuable to me. And I felt there was no reason not to not invest those efforts to you, whether it be time, money, or whatever, on a smaller scale, because I wasn't really, shouldering a huge risk. And in the intern, like I said, from you, like I said, you were from intrinsic value, you were normal, everyday, everyday cat. So had it for me, had it been not worth my time, or would have been at severe detriment, I would have maybe been less likely to do it. Or like if you had if it wouldn't have been received positively, and you'd have, if you would have been like, nah, I'm good, or yeah, now you good, whatever, yada yada, or it would have turned into maybe like a more exploitive situation, and like, oh, man, this dude's crossing boundaries. Then you would have went
Exactly.
from
Right.
intrinsic to, okay, maybe he might be good, but then, with behaviors and whatnot, especially with exploitative or parasitic behaviors or predatory behaviors, then it'll drop. So, all right, going back to the other side, what would you say would be what would be the specific characteristics or behaviors that would take someone from, say, remember, baseline is intrinsic, basic value everybody has, from going from they have a higher value to you, to what would be the red flags for you to drop someone's value from that baseline?
I guess in a way, it might come off bad, but I think it's how any aspect of my life is improved or gotten worse. So for example, if
Mhm.
and it doesn't even have to do with money or with time or anything, but if we have a good conversation and I laugh,
Uh-huh.
or 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 you can tell me what's up with you, I can tell you what's up with me, and that does something for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just if I need help with something, and then you're like, oh no, it's cool. I'll let you borrow my I don't know my phone real quick so you can make that phone call, or it's something that adds to my life positively. And on the other side is if it's something that adds to my life negatively, like if you're with someone and you have a disagreement and they become disrespectful, or if you're with someone and you're close and then all of a sudden they start changing, or things like that. It's just how much you add, and not only that, but if what is what you're adding positive or negative to my life. Are we arguing a lot? Are we in disagreement all the time? Or are we laughing a lot? Are we having like a cool connection? And this is for friendships, for your family members, for everybody. Or are you adding something negative to my life? In the same, by the same token, what are you removing from my life? Are you removing something positive or removing something negative?
Okay, fair
Pretty
enough.
much the same thing, just the opposite. That's kind of how I see it. How do you see it?
I see it about a long time the same way. I think sometimes as relationships and connections get more complex, especially over time when you know someone, and like you said, the changes, we we always look for the small incremental changes in individuals and how they benefit our lives. Sometimes we ignore these sometimes we ignore these signs, but ultimately we would hope to have beneficial relationships that benefit us or they substantiate something for us. So I'm the kind of person I believe in good service. So I take joy in helping others and being a provide to others. Sometimes I have to be careful with setting a boundary that I don't do this to the point where it's at my detriment. So I have to mitigate whatever risks I have in that realm. But it's like it's a bit of give and take, man. When you're dealing with anybody, there's going to be times where it's not always going to be great, and there's going to be times where it's going to be excellent. And for those, it's an ebb and flow, and it's a balance. But you hopefully would kind of see what's in that relationship, that you have more goods than bads, and in whatever thing is bad, it can be brought to resolution. So for me, if I see we all have flaws, we all have some un you know un unmistaken traits that might not be great. Um, you know, Procrastination, inconsistency. There's a lot of those social aspects that could be problematic to relationships. But I think if the relationships can have more positives, more pluses than negatives, then I think hopefully it would all of it would trend upward and not downward. I would think to close that off would be, if I'm looking at someone from an intrinsic, once I get to know you, we're past intrinsic. Now we have established value to where there's hopefully either some type of monetary value, there's some type of established value, there's some type of sentimental value. But like I said, when people change or things go negative, things go left, I look at it from a place of my own reflection. Am I positioned, and am I accepting of whatever changes take place to know what changes I need to make? So for me, is that okay? Am I to a place where the relationship has changed, our friendship has changed? I let that go. I wish you the best. I would still do well for you, be good on you, but we can no longer do this type of interaction. Or do I, call a spade and be like, look, you were never good in that regard. I was helping you, but you're not, say, directly helping me, or you actually being around you can hurt me. Let me go ahead and cut that right now, because I don't see any value. No value in this relationship, and definitely no really worthy aspect of investment that it's going to cause me to suffer losses or detriment. So I think ultimately, for the most part, unless we're forced in a dynamic where we have to deal with those who don't really bring us direct value, other than maybe the value of learning a harsh lesson, learning a harsh lesson. Sometimes I think that's the only time we might get something good from the bad, is learning something that we wouldn't have learned by going through something positive. But realistically, I think at this point in most of our lives, even younger than what we are now, I think it would be much better to see the value in whatever relationships or whatever we're doing, relationships with work, relationships with academics, whatever we're tied to identify the value in it, or the foresight and seeing it, or cutting it loose once we realize that we're putting all the energy in it and really not getting anything back from it. So
I agree. I mean, it's these are conversations that need to be had, especially what you said about people trying to get value by other people instead of themselves, especially trying to get people to value them higher than they value themselves, and that's pretty difficult, and it creates much toxicity in all types of relationships.
true. I'm gonna touch on this, and I'm gonna wrap this one up, my dude, real quick. But it was good. I like we got back into it, man. Value, social media, and man, you heavy on Instagram. You still doing the Bitcoin thing? You still rocking with the Bitcoin? Absolutely.
I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping.
Right on.
Right now, I'm an investment course on it. Actually, that's what I'm going to start doing right after this.
Okay, see, my man is on it. So, social media, the push of the multiple eyes online. We both have to acknowledge that now a lot of people get validation, instant validation, or fallen or avoided validation from the amount of traffic they see on their pages, on their photos, what their posts are, and they huh?
Yeah, I said I know. I felt it
Yeah,
myself.
and they view importance and value by views. Just random people who might not impart any positive or negatives just by a view, or the amount of likes, the amount of loves, the amount of feedback. Feedback is important though. I think that's a different aspect. But the amount of traffic they can generate. If I don't do 100, if I don't do 1,000, if I don't get 1,000,000 followers, I completely understand monetization, trying to make this a business, working off of it. But for individuals who can't put the phone down, who need to stay connected, but are maybe not actually connected to something that's actually generating something beyond something visual, not really, only going through life experiences to basically showcase life experiences, but not enjoying the experience, or undertaking lessons, not to really learn anything, but to just show off what they're learning, to kind of just, I guess what they, clout chase through many different means. With that, do you believe that, not the monetization part, but do you believe in that space of the likes and the views, is there actual value, bulk value, not monetized, not advertising, not sales, but do you believe that entity of us in this sphere, maybe looking at things or liking them or commenting on them, regardless of the value or the actual substance of what's said, do you feel that there in that space, that aspect is that actual value?
Yeah, so pretty much more like that social aspect.
Yeah,
Is what you.
Like, say before you get the demographics, say before you get to people's responsive opinions, before you get to the polls, before you get to data, it's just looks, maybe some likes, maybe some comments, but we don't actually look at the substance of the comments and whatnot. You just see numbers, 2,000 likes, 1,000,000 views. Are those numbers just the instance of those numbers, that sphere, is that translated to value?
I would say so. It's a very shallow value. It's not the most relevant. It doesn't mean all that much, but there is some type of actual just value to it. Yeah, I would say so. It's not important. It doesn't do much for you. Sometimes people even feel lonelier when they see that they got so many friends, but really no actual close person. So technically, I would to just be super objective, yeah, I would say some type of value is not important. It doesn't mean much, but it doesn't mean there's no actual value in the views or the whatever that you're seeing when you put something out there on the internet for everyone else to see.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Because I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to get your last take on it, and we're going to wrap it.
Yeah.
I look at, say, what we're doing as far as a podcast, and we're offering our opinion, and we're giving insight. My whole aspect from this, or anything I do as far as media wise, putting my opinion out there. I for me personally, I put my opinion out there really to invite the opinions of others, to basically garner more connections than I'm able to get just on my own. I crave the responses of everyone that would tap into my media, whatever I create, whatever content I create, because I want opinions, I want perspectives, I want objectives, to basically further my reach and my knowledge base, more so than just, oh, I had an idea, I thought it was real cool, I thought it was real jazzy, I just wanted to put it out there. I really would like to get the perspectives of other people, because that furthers my reach. That's just for me personally. So pretty much what I do this for, I don't really do this for the likes. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I'd rather not have not one like, but I'd rather have 1,000 comments about what people feel, what people know, what people, their perspectives, what they can add, what they take away, more so than just, oh man, 100 people liked it. 100 people laughed at it. That's cool. That adds some substance, but I find value in feedback. I found value in the data that's provided, like the actual the traffic of someone leaving me a crumb, or maybe taking a crumb with them and then it pops up somewhere else. That's for me. What about you, man?
Well, no, and that's completely right, and it's justified by, for example, YouTube analytics. When you watch a video, that's an interaction on the video, but it's at the lowest end. Then after that, when you hit the like button, that's why they ask for it so much. It's telling the algorithm that you really mess with this video, so you want to interact with it. You didn't just watch it. I guess you can compare it to picking it up and looking at it. And you're like, wow, this is really cool, and then putting it down. And then after that, you go to the comments, which is kind of the feedback that you're talking about. I can just press the little button, but if I take time out of my day and
Interact.
speak my mind and comment, then that means more, and so on and so forth. So I mean, that's definitely true, I feel like.
Yeah, and the reaction videos and the pairing up, and then somebody's on your show, and I guess the tears go up from there. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Nico,
It's
man,
a
all right, bro. I like this one. This was right to the point, right in, got in there. I like that. I kind of like this format.
sure.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and put some things together. There's definitely some other topics I want to run by you. In that regard, we got to get a schedule down. We got to get a regiment. We've been away from the fans for too long, but we're on. This is number 6. We got 94 more of these to make, bro. Okay.
Yes, we do.
All right, my dude. Next time we'll probably talk a little bit more finance. I got a couple things I want to run past you. Maybe we might dedicate one of our podcasts to that, to get a perspective, and maybe that might invite a few more voices in it to see where to go with it. All right.
Absolutely, man.
All right, Nico, man. Till next time, man. You learn up. All
That's
right.
a talk.
Yeah, heal your leg, man.
All right, man. I'll try. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. All right, good.